All right, let's get into another weekly members call. Today is the 16th. Man, we are getting closing in on this first quarter of 2020. And I got to say that today we are going to be speaking about something that most people are just afraid of. That's right, it's not sales though. It's actually going to be math. Everything we're going to be talking about today is going to be some numbers to help you guys understand more about how to reverse engineer the results that you need so that you could see the level of income for your business that you desire. When we break down these numbers, it's all about just the fancy word of reverse engineering, knowing what the end goal is, and then figuring out what variables have to be put in place for you to reach that goal. So that's what we're going to get into today. And what you're going to see is, yes, it's me, Brandon, here with you right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll bring you out and help you discuss what we can. So let's get into one of the things that I like to really start off with, okay? Which is going to be when you're thinking about your market, when you're thinking about what you're gonna sell, your service, your product, or whatever it is for clients or for yourself, I guess the general rule is gonna be that you need to understand between local and national markets. When you're looking at a market of, let's say, 1 million people, and you can use this as a national based service, okay? Maybe millions of people, hundreds of millions of people possibly. Well, you have to understand you're going to get a better price than somebody who's working with a business that can only serve foot traffic that lives within 3 miles of that specific location. Now, this is what happens a lot of the time in business is you'll see that with marketing and with sales that most national-based services, you can see them promoting their results. So if I'm a consultant and I have a lot of national clients, I can actually share with you these results that are going to skew your own expectations if you're a local business owner. Now, this causes a problem because when we as business owners have these messed up expectations, then we tend to feel like things aren't working even when they are. So when you're dealing with these folks, meaning with your clients, when you have clients and they are in one of these two buckets, you've got to understand that there's a difference in price, and they have to be taught that so that their expectations are correct. Now, if you yourself are dealing with a local, this is why I love adding product to local businesses. Let's say that you are a local gym. Well, one thing that you could do to create a national advantage is going to be to create a membership site. You're going to be able to create something that can educate and inform and get a result for people that are outside of that specific demographic. Now that could be from, live trains. It could be from workout videos. It could be from things like that. That's just a very generic example, but you can easily do that. You can create your own customer base outside of that demographic. And now you have I guess you could say you have more access to more people, but you also are able to now not pay that local premium, right? It gives you another advantage. There's no way to get past that local premium. Okay, it's just a premium cost that you're going to be forced to pay because of demographic. We have to understand that the smaller the pool, the greater the cost. If you're dealing with a 1 mile market radius, then your price per acquisition is going to be way higher than somebody who has a 50 mile. And theirs is going to be way higher than somebody who has none. Like if they're just like, look, I can market to the national. And then you have global. If you're dealing with a global product and you could market it globally, your costs are going to be a lot less in certain countries and overall bringing down your average cost per acquisition because you have a bigger pool. It just makes more sense. So when you're breaking down your numbers and you're thinking, okay, how do I want to do this? It's not always thinking because I have a local business or because I only serve a local market that I cannot go national or I cannot go global. You have to think bigger. You have to think, how can we what are we doing here? What's your service that you're providing? And is there a way to make it digital? Can you transfer this result digitally so that it could free up more time and that add more revenue while creating a bigger impact across the world? That's the goal here, is to be able to think, even if you are local, how can you serve national? And that's going to create a lot more opportunity for you. And when that happens, you get to see the cost come in and you're like, oh, wow, it actually makes sense. When I'm marketing nationally, I get this cost. When I'm marketing locally, I get this cost. And if you cannot offset those local premiums, then you're always going to be paying more than what you should. It's very important that you walk away with understanding that. Now, when we think about how we're going to break down the actual numbers, let's do this in a way that does not confuse anybody and make it so that, let's say we're looking at a 10,000, well, let's do, what would that be? Let's say $20,000, okay, per month. Let's do this, numbers. Ooh, numbers. All right. Numbers and goals. So 2,000 per month is $20,000 per month is the goal. Let's say that your cost, okay, so let's do this. Goal equals 20,000 per month. Price point, right, equals $1,000. And you have your this is immediate, what is it? Value per customer, meaning that they don't have any upsells. There's no anything else. First 30 days, your price point's 1,000. Your value per customer is going to be 1,000. No additional anything. Now we have to make sure, okay, well, what is the sales process? If you're meeting with these people and let's say that it's a sales process of having to sit down with you and be sold on a high ticket product or service, let's say like it's similar to a, like a lawyer, right? Something like that. If you're, or even something like if I'm going to sign on a new service to do my lawn care, right? I'm going to sit down with these folks. I'm going to go, hey, look, what is it that you're doing? Let me see your prices. Let me go ahead and walk you through this. Give me a call. Send me some rates, right? There's a process to this. So if we're going to start it from the back end and go forward, let's go with closing ratio, right? So how many people do you meet with that are really interested that you are going to close? Well, on average, you're going to be looking, if you're really good and your process is solid, you should be looking at between 30 and 50%. If it's a little bit less refined and you're dealing with a little more unqualified folks, you're looking at between 15 and 25%. So let's use our system that you're getting taught here with the VPC method, and you're going to be expecting somewhere between 30 and 50%. And that will give an average of, let's say, 40% closing ratio. So 4 out of 10 people that you meet with, you're going to go ahead and close. Now let's think about the step before that. All we're doing is we're taking steps backwards from our most thought out objective, right? The objective is 20K per month. The price point is 1,000. We're going to be meeting with people and closing 40% of them. Well, what happens before we meet with them? Well, we're going to want to qualify them, right? So when we qualify them, so qualify would be about, in our case, we get about 70% of the people who are going to qualify. So let's just use these numbers here. And before qualifying, they're going to be booking. Okay, so we get typically about 90% of the people to book who take this step, right? People who get to the booking page, 90% of the people are going to book. But then we have register. Okay, so now we're looking at these numbers. Think about how this works out. There's calculators that you could plug these into. So numbers and monthly goals. Okay, let's break this down. The registration rate is about 15%. Now what we do is to get the higher registration rate, which is, if you think about it from all cold traffic, is going to be about 3%. So if we think about it from warm traffic, meaning people who have opted in as a lead, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to give them a lead. This is going to be about 50%. So for us to now go into the next phase of reverse engineering, we are going to break down the clicks, the cost per click, and how many of them are we going to need. So we've gone through sales. Now we need to go as far detailed down into clicks. We've gotten the funnel, we've gotten the sales process. Now we need to get to the ad metrics so we know exactly what needs to be done from the front end. So we've gotten the back end, the middle, now we need the front. Okay, let's break this down real quick. Let's pretend, well, we'll go through the numbers in a second. Okay, so now we have the closing ratio, the qualifying ratio, the booking ratio, the registration ratio, and the lead conversion ratio. Now we're going to go through and get our cost per click. I'm sorry, our number of clicks. Number of clicks. So if we're looking at, actually this is going to be budget. Boom. There we go. So how much are we going to use for this? And this should actually be up here. Goal, price per month, value per customer, and budget. So let's say that the budget that you have is also $1,000. Now, if you're only, this is a good rule of thumb to kind of go through real quick with you. If you're only selling a $1,000 product and they're only buying it one time, you need to add more products or a continuity plan. You have to. It's the only way you're going to be able to scale and really make money with paid advertising and really be able to make money. I mean, instead of making like dollars, you're going to be able to make like thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, which is way more exciting. So we have to be able to understand that if your budget here is only 1,000 and you have a price point of 1,000 and your value per customer is only 1,000, then you have to be able to get these buyers at right around, what do we look at? 1,000. So we're going to need 20 buyers. So 20 divided by 1,000 is 1,000 divided by, oh, that's not right. Yeah, there we go. So I think it's what, 50 cents? 50 cents a buyer? That's probably not going to happen, right? So 50 cents a buyer, probably not going to get you there. 1,000 getting you a 20K return, not going to happen with this particular model. So you can see that this goal is unachievable. This goal is unachievable. Now let's pretend that we have a price point of 5,000 and the value per customer of 7,500, meaning that most of them actually upgrade to additional services or bigger packages. Okay, now with a budget of $1,000, all we need are 3 clients. Actually, less than that, 2.5. Now, if we're looking at 2.5 clients, now let's do the math, right? 1,000 divided by 2.5, that's $400 now we can invest, right? So now we're looking at our cost per acquisition needs to be at less than 400, which is actually doable, possibly, right? Depending on what we're going to be looking at in a second. But think about this now. If I were to say yes to a client, or if you were to look at your numbers and you're going to go, okay, I need to make 20 grand per month. I need to do it solely on paid advertising. I don't want to put in any work on anywhere else. I don't want partnerships. I don't want to do, SEO. I don't want to be out there actively marketing. I want passive marketing, my paid advertising. I only have $1,000 per month in my budget. If that is the case and that's your attitude, then you have to reverse engineer it down to this level and go, okay, well, if I have a goal of 20,000 per month and my price point is only 1,000, I have to make 20 sales. Well, 20 sales divided by 1,000 is, what's that, $50. You have to get your clients at $50. Now you tell me where you're going to get clients at $50 that are going to be willing to pay you $20,000 or $1,000 right out the gate, right? $50 to give you 1,000. And if you're only willing to invest $50, I'm going to crush you in my ad bidding because I can invest more because I have a better model. So when you actually switch this up a little bit, create more value in your service, add another tier, and then create upsells and ongoing continuity. And let's say we can get your value per customer up now to 7,500. Now with that same $1,000 budget, you can invest, instead of $50, you can invest up to 400. Now you could start playing with the big boys. Now you could start saying to yourself, okay, yeah, I'm investing 400, 500, 600, $1,000 into getting my clients because I'm getting back 18, 20, $25,000 in the long term. Okay. And that's where you want to be able to fix your pricing, fix your positioning, and add the things into your business model that are necessary for you to reach your full potential. When we look at this now, new reverse engineer breakdown, we have still the same goal. We've adjusted the price point. We've got a value per customer of 7,500 with a budget of 1,000, knowing that in order to hit our monthly goal, we have got to be able to create this at 400. Now, what we could do is we can create a monthly recurring price, right? And we could say, okay, you know what? Let's actually add on, instead of it just being $5,000 per price point, it's $5,000 per month. Now, think about that. You can invest up to $5,000 to get a client, because I would be willing to invest 100% of my first month if I knew I had ongoing continuity. Now, if you don't have ongoing continuity, then it would only be best, and that's why we have the budget here at 1,000. You want to be able to invest no more than, I would say, 20% into your actual acquisition. So if you have a price point of $1,000, like how it was in the original example, you're going to want to never invest more than 200 to acquire that client. Never, which is not going to give you an opportunity that you need to really grow. Now, if you look at the 5,000 price point to the 7,500, we can invest up to about $1,000 and we could still be profitable. So this is why your budget has got to really represent how much are you willing to pay to get a new client. Now, in this case, I'd be willing, with a $5,000 price point, I'd be willing to 7,500. I'd be willing to jump this up to about 1,500 minimum to 2,500, right? I'd say 2,500 for myself, because now, guess what? I want more than one client. I want more than 2 clients. I want to make sure that I can reach my goal. And if I put in 2,500 and I reach 20,000, That is an actual representation that's solid for your advertising budget. Your budget should be about 10% to 15% of your monthly revenue. So if my revenue, I expect to be at $20,000 per month, I want to be able to at least put in $2,500, right? If $20,000 per month is my goal, I should be comfortable putting in $2,500 into my marketing budget. It just makes sense. If your business is a business and it's not supporting outside activities, then you should be comfortable making this decision. When you have this formula set up now and your cost per acquisition is less than 400, I can easily now say, okay, well, if this is possible, I'm going to be able to go through this with you right now based on the number of clicks and the click through and the cost per click. And we're going to see, is this even possible? But I know that if it is possible, I should be looking at roughly, what's that, 425, 6 new clients every month, right? That's what I should be looking at, about 6 new clients. And imagine what you would do with 4 to 6 new clients every month, knowing that it was going to happen on clockwork. And then you could just scale and put in more and grow and grow and grow, right? It's all about getting the system set up and then seeing how far you want to take it. Some folks don't want to grow to a business where they're hiring 100 employees. They want to just keep it tight. So they'll cut off advertising, or they'll only limit themselves to a certain number of clients. Either way is fine. There's no wrong answer here, but you do have to know your numbers. So when we break down your goal, your price point, your value per customer, your budget, your cost per acquisition, we understand all these numbers here throughout the funnel and the process. Now we can get to the front end of the numbers of clicks. Well, if we know that our cost per click goal is going to be at, let's say, sub $2, depending on what market you're in, it's possible to be even less than this, but I just want to say less than $2, okay? Now, if our cost per click is less than $2, how many clicks is that going to buy us? Well, we have a budget of 2,500. Okay, so if our budget is 2,500, let's get to, what is that? 25, it's at 1,250, right? So we have 1,250 clicks. And that now, if we are driving 1,250 clicks, we have our math, 40%. So we're going to take 1,250 and we're going to now times that by our 40%. And we have 500. Now we have leads, right? So number of leads. And this is 500. Now we have our, let me go ahead and make this a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now we have our leads. Boom. And let's go to our number of registrants. Okay. So now our number of registrants is going to be at a 15%. So let's go ahead and times that by, so 500 times 15%, we're looking at 75. Okay. Now we're going to look at how many of them book. So number of booking, and that now is at 90%. So we're going to take 75 times 90%, 6750. So we're going to, 67.5. And now we're going to say our number qualify, and that is going to be 70%. So now we're going to take 67.5 times 70%. You're looking at 47.25. So 47.25. And now we're going to get to how many do we actually close? So number close. And this is going to be about 40%. So when we get here, we're looking at 47.25 times 40%. That's 18. Look at that, 18.9. Now let's say that, and that's at 40%, but let's just say that you don't close at 40%. Let's say that you close at 10%, okay? You're still looking at, it should be show up rate. We still have show up, qualify, show. Our showing ratio, this is where we messed up. There we go, show up. Our show up ratio is 85%. So there is where we gotta take this back. Hold on, we have book, qualify, show, number, show. Did not want to forget that one. Okay, so we have 47.25. Let's just pick it up from there. Times 85%, so that's 40. 0.1. Okay, and then we have how many of them that actually close. We're looking at 40.1 times 40%, 16. There we go. So let's take a look. So that's 16 there. Now that's at 40%. Now let's imagine that you're only at 10%. You're still at 4, right? And even if you're only at less than that, at 5%, you're still at 2. So at worst case scenario, which, I mean, it should never get down to where you're closing this little, but you figure worst case scenario equals 2 times your 5,000. So you're still at $10,000. And that's at worst case scenario, selling 2 clients a $5,000 product after acquiring a lead base of 500, getting 75 of them to register right away, 65 of them to book, 47 of them to qualify, 40 to show, and then you're going to close depending on how good your skill sets are, right? This is a very important way to look at the numbers and be able to see that you're in control. You know what I mean? You're in control. And as long as the numbers that you see here aren't going outside to outside activities, meaning like if you're making 10 grand and you're paying $5,000 in your monthly mortgage and you're taking that money from the house to do these things, and there's no amount of stress that's going to be removed from this. It's going to be adding more to it. So this is why you have to understand that your budget is huge, knowing what you have to put into the business and use for the business. You have to make your monthly goal, whatever it needs to be for yourself, and then take this exact walkthrough so that you know how to reverse engineer your numbers. If you do this every time and you have this broken down just like this, you will know every time, okay, what are my targets? And if I have to get now without paid advertising, if I have to get to this without paid advertising, what's my number of clicks that I need? Well, I need 1,250 clicks to go to a specific landing page for me to hit a 40% or 50% conversion, to get 15% to register, 90% to book, 70%, and all these numbers to then come to fruition. So it's not just paid advertising. This is your daily mark. How are you going to drive 1,200 clicks to your page? That's all you're trying to do. Because when that happens, you now become a person who's going to be closing 2 to 16 clients every single month. It comes down to hitting these numbers based on the offers you're giving and the service you're providing, as well as the position you have in the market. So all that comes down, it's like a whole formula, right? That's why we call it the VPC method, and that's why we attach it to our Northwicks sales system. This is going to be the best way for you to reach these goals. I really hope that this walkthrough made sense to you and that you got to see a lot about how to come across and break it down to an actual cost per click, but also have the overarching sense to know, okay, I'm hitting 20 grand per month. And I do know that of these 500 leads, that I'm only going to close between 2 and 16 of them. So that means that next month, when I collect another 500, I'm going to have 500 plus the leftovers from this. And then the third month, I'm going to have that 900 plus the leftovers from this. So you're having a compound interest, which you're going to be email marketing and collecting more clients. You're going to have retargeting set up and additional campaigns that are going to bring on new clients. This is just bringing people through the front end of your funnel and getting them to move to a point of sale that pushes your business further and gives them exactly what they need. So this is not something that needs to be made more complicated than it is, and it's still working. This is how it's done, right? If you walk into a store for a consulting, for a lawyer, for a dentist, for anything like that, you have to fill out forms. You have to become a lead. You have to book. They're going to qualify you, right? Do you have the right insurance? Do you not? They're still qualifying you. And then do you show up? Right? This is the exact same process that's being done across the world, except for we've digitally made it now. And the way that you're going to make it stand out is through following the VPC method and identifying all of the key points within the Northwicks sales system to apply to your business so that your skill sets actually match the level of communication that people are being brought through within your marketing campaigns. It's all got to be congruent. And I promise that when you see this all laid out and you see the traffic coming and the numbers being hit, all you want to do is just put more in there. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the group. I had a great time with you guys today. I appreciate you for showing up, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.